I really like Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I won't say I love it, that's a very strong word I only use for a few pieces of media. But if you were to ask me about the series, I'd say it's great. But there's a big problem with that statement. Most series that I really like are not filled with scenes I hate, and yet I kind of ignore those scenes. This video isn't to say I hate certain characters, but I do hate certain character interactions, and whenever certain pairings are on screen, my enjoyment sinks like a lead weight. Positives first. Why do I love this forest? The core three characters, Kobayashi, Toru, and Kana, are the heart of the series. There are no bad scenes with these three. Then there's Fafnir and Takiya, Kobayashi's co-worker. Their relationship is pretty good too. And Elma is also around, although she's usually doing things by herself and her gimmick of just really liking food is pretty one note. But then there's Lukoa, who is just fine on her own. She has two large personality traits, those being an aversion to alcohol after a past incident she doesn't want to talk about and harassing Shota. And there's the problem. The problems with her emerge as soon as Shota is introduced. From that point on, here's the majority of Lukoa's screen time. Shota is not a character. He does not get development. There is no exploration of the potentially interesting topic of mages in the modern world. He is just a traumatized canvas onto which Lukoa's
huge tracts of land
are applied. Am I saying I don't like big boobs? Yes, I guess. Shota doesn't like it. And more importantly, it's just the same joke over and over and over and over again. Maybe I can just write this off as a joke that doesn't land for me. But then there's Riko Saikawa. I find her at minimum rather annoying most of the time. Her character arc is pretty much done after one episode, and then she's just Kana's annoyingly clingy friend. But her crush on Kana is extremely childish and is more hero worship than romantic. I don't really read much into it. But then there's that scene. A giant rotting tree filled with killer wasps that are venturing out and driving the tourists out of a nearby town. That scene is Kana and Riko playing a heavily sexualized game of Twister by themselves. It's difficult to explain what even leads to this scene because nothing really leads to it. Again, the relationship between these two characters is really not romantic. You have an army of Kana defenders saying all variations of ravioli ravioli don't lewd the dragon lowly, and then this scene happens. Look, Kana may have a character design that has a lot of lolly fetish elements to it. Like the gap of exposed thigh and, being actually 1,000 years old. But the series does not really frame her as anything other than a cute little daughter, and she acts like a child. The Hot Springs episode directly states that dragons in human form take an appearance that matches their personality. Kana is literally still a child in dragon terms. And then there's this scene that decides, hey, these children? Let's have it look like they're gonna fuck.
FBI, open up!
What the shit is this scene? There's a large difference between some strange undertones I might not like in a grove off in some corner of a forest, and the main hiking trail leading you up to a weird knotty tree right in your path. Between this and Made in Abyss, 2017 was the year of incredibly uncomfortable scenes with small anime girls named Riko. I'm not going to get into Made in Abyss. Explanation Point made a great video about the more questionable elements of that series, and what they add or don't add to the story and characters. Here in Maidland, there's just this scene that feels entirely unnecessary, at best. So why do I still like this series at all? It's again the forest and the trees. Missing the forest for the trees would be saying that the Twister scene makes the entire series bad. But missing the trees for the forest can be just as much of a problem. Forests can benefit from active management, and I think some of the trees in Dragon Maid's forest need to be cut down. And yet, after walking in this forest, I only remember the nice-looking trees, not the ugly ones. So, Dragon Maid, a series that I like a lot, but maybe it's not so great when I try to think about why I like it. And maybe I shouldn't recommend it to people as much. I'm excited for Season 2 anyway. The end.